Welcome back to my story about the cheapest Rolls Royce in Europe. I got it for 4,000 euros in non-running and non-driving condition. I got it running and partly driving with no budget, and then I spent about 400 euros on tune-up parts, which didn't actually solve the main problem, which is the part throttle hesitation. Basically, the car chokes up and almost dies when you give it gas. The tune-up stuff that I did needed to be done anyway because the components were worn, the filters were dirty, so I needed to do those anyway, but I haven't done anything with the carburetors. I figure enough is enough. I'm gonna dig into the carburetors. I've never done anything like that before in my life. I have dealt with cars quite a bit, but I've never I've never tuned a carburetor. I know people are saying that it's not a big deal. Well, let's find out. I have the service manual. At this point, I kind of know what the major components are called, and I've been examining diagrams in very much detail. Some of the stuff is confusing in the service manual, mostly because it's not a textbook, it's a service manual. You're supposed to already know what a suction chamber is and what a damper piston in that suction chamber is. And it took me a while to learn what those are, but at this point I have an idea, so yep, I think I can do it. Let's give it a go. First thing in the procedure for tuning the carburetors is to synchronize the throttles. And to do that, I need to basically disassemble the whole suction chamber, at least the top part of it, on both sides. And then adjust the throttles. I guess the disassembly is done in order to see where the valve is visually. I don't know, but that's what the procedure calls for, so that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. It's dripping. The oil is dripping. What's this? I guess this is just the piston, that's it. Okay. There wasn't much oil, but however much there was, it's now inside here. I can see a smiley face in there. And a long Pinocchio nose. Other than that, I have no idea what I'm looking at. If I open the throttle, what happens? Nothing happens inside here. So, why did I need to remove this chamber? Other side too. Get rid of this thing, at least lift it up so we don't spill that much oil. It says to attach, to put the choke in fully open position. So I've done that here. And then the next step is to slacken the pinch bolt that's holding the throttle assembly. It's this guy here. So for that, I will probably need to remove this whole pipe, which is easy. I've done it a gazillion times already. Removed. There it is. Now this whole setup looks a lot more open somehow, just visually. So this stupid pinch bolt thing, I need to adjust from here. I need to do it on the other side as well, which is this bolt here. I managed to do it with this setup attached here, like that. So now it's loose, both of them are loose. And the instructions say, with the throttle butterflies closed, which I assume is controlled by this thing. So this should be the closed Wait, no, that should be the closed position. All the way down here, okay. All the way down with the throttle butterfly closed on both of these, both throttles. How do I control the other one? There's no lever on this side. Isn't this what controls the butterfly? Okay, let's assume it's closed. With both of them closed, it says, bring the A bank, which is this bank, throttle lever, so it abuts its stop. What does that mean? I guess push it this way. Oh, okay, I got it. I'm supposed to remove this thing. I just realized that it lifts up. Because the next steps talk about holding the throttle valves open, or rather closed, and I can see them through here. So that was the whole reason to disassemble the suction chamber. Okay, I think I got it. This is the bank A throttle lever. This is the bank B throttle lever. This one doesn't play a role here. We need to make sure that the throttle butterfly is closed. I guess on this side I can just play with this guy here. So fully closed. And while that's held closed, and this one also, I guess I can show you upside down, but yeah, basically I'm manually pushing it by hand to close it. While those are both held in the closed position, there, closed, I need to make sure that the throttle A lever is sitting in its closed stopped position, and then tighten the screws that I untightened earlier. And by the way, this throttle stop here needs to be exactly, or approximately, 16.5 millimeters from the top of the bracket to the position where it rests. About 16, so that's pretty good. I'll unscrew it a little, or rather screw it in a little more to get it to 16 and a half. Much better if you look at it from the left side of the car. And we are indeed at about 16 and a half. So again, with the throttle stop, which is the idle adjustment screw, set to 16.5 millimeters, I need to make sure that the throttles, the butterflies are held in the closed position here as well. Yeah, this one keeps moving on its own. No, I guess it didn't. Okay, this is fine. The throttle is resting on the stop, and now just tighten the nuts. They're the screws, whatever they are. These guys here. Probably need to tighten that later with a ratchet so that I can tighten it more, because it's not very tight right now. Okay, both throttle levers are now tightened, and now they should be turning simultaneously. When I pull the throttle from here, I need to make sure that there's no slack, and that it's in the fully closed position, and then as soon as the throttle starts moving, the butterfly starts moving. Same thing on the other side. Yep, it's just moving, assuming that they are currently both in fully closed position. Because I set them that way, hopefully they haven't moved. And finally, the instructions say to tighten the throttle stop screw half a turn so that the throttles are just starting to open. So I'm going to do that by hand and see if that causes the needed movement there. I didn't see any movement. I'm going to give it a little more. Okay, I saw it move now. Okay, maybe it wasn't visible on the camera, but I saw it move. So I'm going to set it to this position as it is right now, and then part of the tuning procedure calls for setting this correctly to the right RPM, but that's done, the precise tuning is done after the carburetors are tuned, so this is good enough for now. The next step, according to the manual, is to set this jet piece here to be flush with the plate that it sits on, which is called a bridge piece, and then turn down the screw that adjusts it by 2.5 turns. So I've already slackened the lock nut that's below this this screw here, and I can turn this left and right to make sure that the jet is flush with the plate. Yeah, it moves. Yeah. Okay, let's raise it a little bit by turning left. I would say it's flush now. Let me just feel it. Yeah, maybe a little bit higher. Okay, it's now level. I can feel it with my finger, and in my case, this means that the screw is all the way out. Make sure you take up any slack before you start turning, because the next step is to turn 2.5 turns. If you've undone it too far, then making the 2 turns will not do anything really. It'll just the jet will just stay there because you'll just be taking up the slack. So make sure you take that up before you start counting turns and while this is still flush. Okay, so oh, and make sure that the locking nut is way clear of the bracket. Speaking from experience, if you start turning and then you hit the locking nut point where it locks, you got to start all over again. So half a turn, 1 turn, 1.5, 2, 2.5. There we go. And this thing is considerably further down now, which it wasn't when I started doing this. So it was incorrectly set. Maybe somebody didn't take up the slack before they started adjusting. And finally, we tighten the lock nut to make sure that this thing doesn't move. Same thing on the other side. Next, the instructions say to screw the volume screw all the way in, which is this thing here, all the way in, and then back it out 2.5 turns. It seems to me that it's, oh, okay. Or sorry, 1.5 turn rather. Maybe that's how far it was. This seems like it's all the way in. It's not going any further. So, okay, half, 1, 1.5. Same thing on the other side, right there. At this point, we can release this wire here and put the suction chambers back on without the dampers at the top. Apparently, the tuning procedure must be done without the dampers so that they're not interfering with the tune. And by the way, I did check the clearance here. This needle thing has a wider section that's supposed to be flush with the bottom of the whatever this piece is called, and it's supposed to be springy. Check this out. It bounces a little. The spring works all is good. The positioning is good. And I cleaned it up, so we should be good to go. Putting that in. There's a specific orientation, I believe, that this needs to go in. Yep. The channel is here. There we go. Doesn't rotate. Okay. Then we fit the suction chamber. Should go in easily and smoothly. Okay. There we go. Oh, no, it does have a orientation. At least, yeah, okay, because see, the holes are not lining up. It's not this either. It must be that. Okay, that's a cool design that they made the holes unevenly spaced so that it can only go in one way. I gotta put everything back in except for these dampers here, and then start the engine. Hopefully it'll start, because I had a Rolls Royce that runs and I don't want to have a Rolls Royce that doesn't run. Generally, when I'm tightening things with a bunch of different bolts, I don't tighten them. I don't tighten any single one until all the other ones are snug, like that, in order not to bend or misalign anything. So just snug them up, and then with the last one you can start tightening. They don't need to be that tight, really. Done. Same thing on the other side. I checked the fitment here, it's good. Put this guy in. There we go. Oh, dude, I forgot the spring. I forgot the spring on the other side. Okay, I will put it in here, but then I gotta undo the other one and put the spring back on. That is a very rookie mistake. But what can I say? I am a rookie when it comes to these cars. Okay, this should be the correct alignment. Okay, all done. Now I gotta remove this one again. How could I forget that? I guess this thing is supposed to float like that. That's why it needs that spring to keep it down under a certain amount of tension. Let's see if I got the right orientation. Yep, this time we're good. Okay, one more time. Screws go in. And now the big question, will it even start after I disassembled and reassembled the suction chambers as per the tuning procedure? Let's see. Oh, wait. I didn't fill the thing with oil here. Done and filled with oil. Let's see if it starts. Okay, it started out rough, but now pretty smooth. Oops, I forgot to plug this thing in. That wouldn't be good for vacuum. Okay, good. Third time's the charm. Sounding pretty good so far. And mind you, the actual carburetor tuning hasn't been done yet. We've only done the prerequisites, really. Now that the car's warmed up, I can say for sure that it's already running much better than before. Look at that. I'm getting proper throttle response. Not choking like before. And this is just with the static settings. Static settings without having actually tuned the carburetor, just, you know, like 2.5 turns from the bottom position, stuff like that. Just with that, it's running way better. I'm gonna do a test drive here, but before doing the proper tuning, just to see how it is. And I think it's already in a much better shape. Also, the exhaust doesn't smell that much anymore. It used to be very, very smelly. It smelled like a rich running car. Now it smells normal. Let's do this. Yeah, it's driving fine. Brakes work. I can accelerate. Yeah, none of that hesitation is there anymore. Very good. Turn around here. Everybody likes the car. Everybody gives me the right of way. Well, it's still not perfect, but it's running way better. It doesn't choke anymore. Look, I can give it gas and it just starts going. Let me pass those peasants. I got my window open to hear the engine, but generally the car is running well. I can hear some noise from something from the chassis, but generally okay. Let me close the window, see if it works. Yep, okay. To get the proper Rolls Royce experience with a very quiet car. It's not that quiet because I have an exhaust leak, but other than that, it's smooth and nice. Let me give it some gas. Wow, let's go! This is not max power, obviously. Okay, I can't go much faster than that on this road, but it's running. It drives much better than before, for sure. I would call this completely drivable. Can't wait to do the proper tune. Very smooth runner. I gotta say, even with the exhaust leak, the car is really quiet on the inside. And the engine is smooth now, and it's a nice, that's kind of what I would imagine as the Rolls Royce experience. Very smooth, very composed, not jerky, not sporty, just nice and smooth. The next step in carburetor tuning is to check the vacuum here at this port while the car is running at 2000 RPM. So for that you need a vacuum gauge, and I got one, Chinese special of course. And since I don't have a threaded adapter like that, I'm just gonna put the hose here. It's a pretty good fit, so it should be measuring correctly. And let's see what we get. Right now 0, but let's see. Well, that's not good. We're not getting any vacuum at all at any RPM. Nothing. This thing is tight. What I found out about this gauge is that it's much more coarse than what I need for this measurement here. What I need is a water level difference between 2 3/4 and 3 1/4 inches, which is about 7 centimeters to 8.25 centimeters. But that's a water level difference. What this thing is measuring here is mercury level difference. And so the equivalent in mercury level difference is about 0.2 roughly of something of mercury inches, and it barely registers on this scale. I could see the needle moving just a tiny bit, but it really wasn't measuring anything. So I made this thing. Made is an overstatement. Basically, I got a transparent hose, and it's full up to here, if you can see it, up to this level here, and same thing on the other side. And then I'm gonna plug in the other end of the hose into the tap here and measure the difference between these two levels when the engine is running. Let's see. Quite a big difference here, see? Between here and here. That's, I would say, roughly about 8 centimeters, but I'm going to measure it precisely just now. Okay, just shut off the engine, but the measurement was this much, and that's right in the money, right at 8.15 or so centimeters, which is exactly in range. It's at the higher end of the range, but yeah, that's great. That means things are running well. We can proceed with the actual tuning of the carburetors. Okay, I'm ready to start the carburetor tuning. Finally, I'm in the middle of the street because I can't do this in my garage because it'll smoke up the whole place. But the engine is warm. All the other prerequisites have been met. Actually, I need to remove the dampers. The other one. First step was to set the RPM to the idle RPM to 600. Right now it's 560 or so. So I need to raise it a little bit with this screw here. Okay, now it's roughly 600. Instructions say if you take too long, and also before you start, run the engine at 2000 RPM to kind of purge the system for 15 seconds.
So the first step is to adjust the volume and listen for the hiss inside the suction chamber here. Make sure it's the same on both sides. The volume screw is this. So let me listen and adjust. Okay, I think I have an idea of what it sounds like. Let me do the other one as well. I think this is good, although it's hard to listen. This one is actually a little farther in, so I can't properly lean in, but I think they're reasonably balanced right now. So this procedure is supposed to be done immediately after purging the system by running it at 2000 RPM. And if you take more than 2 minutes, which I definitely have, you need to purge it again. I'm readjusting my idle because it's going a little bit above 600, but okay, so I'm going to purge it by running the engine at 2000 RPM for 15 seconds. That should be good enough. And now we start adjusting the jet screws in the same direction by 1/8 of a turn. 1/8 of a turn is... Oh wait, are they locked? Oh man, they are locked. I can't turn this because the locking nut at the bottom right here is tightened. I need to untighten that first. Okay. Do the other one as well. Unlock the nut so I can then adjust it. Ooh, shit. Man, this hose is hot. This is the choke stove pipe. Okay, they're unlocked, so now it's time to turn them both in equal amounts and in equal directions until the RPM has gotten to its maximum value. Right now it's circling around 620 or so. So let's say 1/4 of a turn. And the other one also 1/4 of a turn. No, the RPM is dropping, so I need to back them out. I need to back them out in the opposite direction. So this is returned to where it was, and then another 1/4 turn to the left. Return to what it was, and another 1/4 turn to the left. Yep, RPM has increased a bit. 650 or so. Now another 1/4 turn to the left. This is it, it's increasing even more. Okay, that's good. Now the other one. A 1/4 turn. Okay, our RPM is circling around 670 or 680. Good. Increase a little more. Another 1/4 turn on both of these guys. Okay, 710, 715. Okay, let's keep going. Another 1/4 turn then. think it's starting to drop at this point, but let's do this one as well, another quarter turn. It's increasing, well, maybe that is right around the same. Well, let's back it up a little more just to make sure that that's the direction in which we should be decreasing. Quarter turn. Yeah, that dropped. That dropped for sure. Okay. Just to synchronize them. Quarter turn here as well. Well, seems like when I back out this one, the RPM increases, but when I back out this one, it decreases. So maybe they're not synced completely. So maybe I'll leave this one as is, and I'll return this one half a turn. Yeah, that definitely increased my RPM, see? 750 even. 730, 740. And I wasn't getting that kind of RPM with that one further in. Okay, I think this is my optimum setting. Okay, let me purge it again because it's been a while. Should be good enough. Okay, and then adjust each one individually, it says, until maximum RPM is achieved, which I've kind of done. But let's try backing this one out a little. No, that dropped the RPM. I'm gonna tighten it again. Okay, I'll tighten it even more. Well, maybe halfway, eighth of a turn, because I'm looking at the RPMs that it's varying, but it's right around 740, 750. I think that's the max I could get. Let's see on this side as well. Adjusting that one individually. Quarter turn to the left. RPM is up slightly. Another quarter turn to the left. RPM is slightly dropping, so I'm gonna back it out. Okay. And then it says to adjust both of them together to the left, counterclockwise, until RPM starts dropping, and then back it in 1/8 of a turn to re-raise the RPM. So I'm gonna do 1/8 to the left here, 1/8 to the left here. And yes, the RPM is indeed dropping, so I'm gonna return it by 1/8. And I think this will be my ultimate setting. Yep, this is good. This is good. I think this is a good one. It does sound smoother, I gotta say. Okay, next step. Readjust the RPM, the idle RPM to 600, because now we've raised it quite a bit. Guys, this is unbelievable. It's already sounding so much smoother. You hear that? Okay, the last test after I've retightened these and set the RPM is to check how they respond, how the throttle, how the chambers respond to putting up the piston manually. I'm gonna push it up a little slightly here. Okay, a little bit. Okay. Well, I guess the exact response is not so important. It's important that they be the same response from both sides. think this one is affected a little less. This one here almost stalls it. Yeah. Okay, maybe they're not fully balanced, but I'm gonna go with this setting for now. Do a test drive and see how it is. I'm gonna install these caps, obviously. Okay. I think we can call it reasonably tuned. It's already sounding so much better than before. Much, much smoother. Let's give it a test drive.
Okay, let's do this. Test drive time. I think the engine is more responsive now, for sure. It is better. Let's see. Yeah, it's more responsive. There's pickup immediately when you press the gas. Everybody's watching. This car is really a head turner. And of course the engine sounds rough because of the exhaust leak. Because from inside here with the open window, we're hearing the exhaust leak at the loudest, but the engine itself is sounding very smooth if you listen to it in the engine bay. Let's do this. Yep, accelerating from a reasonably high speed. I got up to 60 or 70 or so kilometers an hour. It's running smoothly. Let's give it some wide open throttle. Well, it's not a super fast car, but that's actually the highest amount of throttle that I've given it since I bought the car. It wasn't even wide open, but yeah, it's doing all right. It's doing all right. I think it's performing well, especially given its 190 horsepower or whatever this engine is rated at. It's not bad. Can you hear the idle? It's so quiet and so smooth, even with the exhaust leak. You probably can't hear it actually because there's too much noise from the outside. Close this window. It's just super smooth. Nice. I'm happy with my tuning. I don't know what a Silver Shadow in excellent shape is supposed to feel like in terms of acceleration. Mine feels all right. It doesn't jump and go, but it's smooth and it sounds good, and I think the tune is fine, and I think the engine is fine too. It's just it didn't have that much power to begin with, and it's fine. I mean, it does have some pep, you know. It's not a sluggish car. Look, yeah, if I hit it, yeah, it goes. It
goes, and it's not bad. Especially for a heavy car like that, and especially for a 70s car, which is really a 60s car, because that's when it was designed. I'm back from the test drive, and all is good. And even the exhaust, if you put your hand here, it doesn't sound uneven or anything like that. It sounds smooth. And it still smells like exhaust, but it's much, much better than before. I think it was overly rich before, and it was just smelling terrible. And every time I started, even for half a minute, it would smell up my garage horribly, and it would take like an hour to vent out. So overall, very happy with the results of the tune. I think it's not fully tuned well because the balance between the two carbs, I think, is still off, but it's so much better than before. It's way better than before. But I think I'll do another session now that I think about it. First, because of that final test where you lift up the suction chamber piston, and they didn't respond the same way for the two carburetors. So that's a problem. They should respond the same way. They should be balanced. I think the volume screw thing that I started balancing in the beginning, I probably didn't balance it very well, so I'll redo the whole thing. Now that I know what I'm doing and what I'm looking for as a final result, I think I can do it faster and better, and the car will run even better than it is right now. Well, here we are again. The car is running very smoothly, but I wasn't happy with the way the carbs were synchronized last time. It seemed like one of them was a little bit off, so doing a second attempt at tuning. The car is warm. I'm going to connect the RPM meter and give it a second try. I want it to be right. I want it to be perfect. And since the last time I did it was my first time ever tuning a carburetor, I figured I could probably do a better job the second time. So let's see. It's nice and warm now. And so I've reset the throttle, the volume screws to the static setting, which is 1.5 turns off, backed off from their fully retracted or fully in position. And now I've done all the prerequisites and so on. Now we start tuning. The problem is my timing light is a little wonky, and it's not really showing a very good reading. If I do this, it starts behaving better, but still jumps around. So maybe my pickup is getting, I don't know, getting some interference or something. Okay, so now I can start tuning. I'm gonna turn the left carburetor a little toward, let's say half a turn toward rich. And see what happens to the RPM. So half a turn. I'm not getting a good reading. Okay, I'm gonna try another wire here. It shouldn't matter in terms of measuring RPM, it shouldn't matter which wire it is, but all of them are acting wonky. Okay, I'll have to do it by feel then, and by sound. Definitely going bad. So let's go right a little. Okay, now it's picked up a little bit. I did some more tweaking on both of the carburetors by feel, and now the synchronization test is where you lift the piston here with the pin. This is the response with one of them, and this is the response with the other. Pretty similar. I think that's going to be good enough until I can get a proper reading of the RPMs. Well, my new tune kind of sucks. I think it's too lean now. Look at that. The half throttle is bad again. Maybe it is too rich, I don't know, but it's not running right. It's still fine drivable, but it's not as good as it was with my last tune. So yeah, I just need to get a proper tachometer so I can gauge the minute changes in RPM as I adjust the mixture, and that's gonna help me a lot. Okay, one more time. Let's try this. I'm gonna redo the tune from the beginning. I've set the volume screws at the static level, so all I need to do now is adjust the, what's it called? The jet screws. I need to remove these first. Alright, my tachometer is working mostly, so I should be fine. I need to set the RPM to 600 by adjusting this screw here. So, yep, that's pretty good, right around 600. And I need to rev it to 2000 RPM for 15 seconds. Okay, and then tap on the suction chambers like that a little bit. Okay. And now I need to start adjusting both screws in the same direction on both carburetors and see what direction the RPMs are going. So I'm going to do half a turn here in this direction. It's staying the same mostly. I'm going to tighten this one in as well by half a turn. It went up a little, 640, okay. So I'm gonna keep going in this direction. Another half turn here, and another half turn here. Well, that dropped it, so I'm gonna back this one out. This. So I'm going to do another half turn to the left here on this one. Okay, that keeps increasing the RPMs. So this one is way in. And I do another half turn here. Increasing a little more, or maybe staying the same. So let's try this one going in the other direction, because that seems to be where it is gaining RPMs. No, that dropped, so I'm going to back it off. Back it off. It's about the same, but I think it dropped a little before that. Okay, so I'm going to go left here one more time. Increasing a little more maybe. Or staying the same. Yeah, increasing more. Yeah, it's increasing more. So I'm going to do one more left turn. No, now it dropped. Now it dropped. Okay. I need to go back in. Okay, we're back to 675. That's, I think, the best I've achieved so far. Let's do the clearing again by running at 2000 RPM. Okay. Now go left again on this one. Going left. Brings it down. Okay, I'm coming back in. And then it says another eighth of a turn. So that's that. Or rather quarter of a turn, is what I meant. So that increases it maybe a little. Okay, and then I'll do another quarter turn here. Nope, that drops it, So I need to back off on this one. Go left. 700 RPM. What if I go left again? About the same or drops, so I'm gonna dial it back in. This is effectively the point where I need to stop and then dial it I guess a quarter of a turn back in. Okay, and now we are around 700 RPM. I need to adjust this screw to drop back to 600. The proper idle speed for a warm engine. Okay, let's say that's close enough. Something like that. Okay, and then do the pin test. Put the piston up, and both carburetors need to respond the same way. Let's look at the other one. Yeah, I'd say they're responding the same way. Maybe they're a little lean now because it shouldn't drop that much. The RPM shouldn't drop that much, but I think they're reasonably well synchronized at this point. Phew. Okay, let's go for a test drive. See how it feels. Actually, when I put these things on, the RPMs dropped a little bit, so I need to readjust now to have a slightly higher idle speed. So let's do that. There we go, closer to 600. I went too high. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's do this. The response already feels better, just right off the bat. I mean, my previous tune was crap for sure, but yeah, now it certainly feels better just from the initial few seconds. Okay. Not bad, not bad. The car is doing fine. As far as I can tell, we are good. The tune seems to be working. When I give it gas, there's pep. It goes. It's not a sports car, obviously, but it's moving pretty well. Driving into the sunset. Okay, it's the next day now. Let's try my cold start with the new tune. Pop the throttle just to get it off of to put it on the choke rather. Let's see. Fuel pump clicking. No pressing the pedal. Great, starts right up and sounds smooth.
That sounds pretty good. I think I can say a reasonable level of confidence that I've done a reasonable tune. So I'm considering the carburetor tuning done. Maybe in the future, if I get more experience with it, if I feel any problems with the current tune, I will redo it, or with time it needs to be redone anyway periodically. But for now, the engine's running well. The car has a good amount of power. It drives well. Part throttle, full throttle, idling, everything seems fine. So I'm considering the carburetor tuning done. All in all, it wasn't that bad. I was a little more afraid of it than I should have been. It's actually pretty simple. It's kind of imprecise, if you ask me, as a process. You do have to have a feel for it. I still don't have a feel for it, but it's even with the kind of basic instructions, you can get a very good tune, or at least a pretty good tune. And if you want maximum performance or maximum fuel economy and stuff like that, then you need to be an expert. But just as a normal drivable car that runs well, that doesn't sputter, that doesn't detonate or anything like that, it's doable. It's doable for somebody that doesn't know how to do it and can learn just by reading the instructions and trying it a few times. I mean, it did take me three tries, so yeah, there's that. But it was fine. So that's it for now. I'm gonna keep you guys updated on my progress with this car. The next stuff I need to do is just get it usable as a normal daily, well, not daily, but just a normal car that I can go places with. And for that, I need door locks, which currently don't work. I also need windows to be working. I need headlights, high beams, windshield wipers, stuff like that. All of those things that you think are just kind of minor details, but they do make a difference when you actually need to use the car. If you catch some rain, or just need to park the car somewhere and leave it, you need to be able to lock it. All of those things just need to be fixed. Then I also have to replace a bunch of hydraulic hoses for the brakes and for the rear height control system. There is a bunch of other maintenance to be done. I'm gonna get to that at some point later. All of that is coming up in my videos, so make sure you subscribe, you like the video, you click the notification icon thing so you get notified when there's new content. I'll be putting out these videos as frequently as I can, considering that this is not my day job. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.